hope you're all doing well. It's been a while since I've been on YouTube. I took a break, and it's been even longer since I've talked about my growth and done a whiteboard. But recently, last couple of weeks, I got on Facebook and I joined a couple of Facebook groups. I had a guy in a truck stop telling me he gets some good loads off of these Facebook groups. And I was skeptical, but I went on there and I joined these Facebook groups. One's for box truck operators and one's for owner operators. I've yet to see any loads. I've seen lots of people posting, I'm looking for this dedicated load and I want to make 80 cents a mile. And I just have to laugh to myself, where are these people getting these 80 cents a mile from? They're, I've got 4 months of experience. I need 80 cents a mile and I want to be at home every night, whatever. But I found that even on these things, I've never seen a load posted, but there's just too many super truckers and there's too many people that complaining. And I don't need that drama in my life. As a matter of fact, on YouTube, there were several YouTube truckers I used to watch, and I realized it's a show. It's all drama. It's not real numbers. They're telling you, oh, I'm making $8 a mile. And then, it's too much drama for me. So I'm cutting that out. But some of the posts that I saw on the Facebook group, like quite a few of them jumped out at me. They have a truck exactly like mine, a cargo van, 16-foot. It was a former moving van. And I've seen this about 10 times on that post. Don't buy this. It's a mistake. You can't make a living. You can only make $1 a mile. And at the end of the week, you only got a couple $100 in your pocket. And I want to get on there and make comments, but there's 100 super truckers who are on there making all these comments. And so I just leave it alone. And I'm thinking, man, at $1 a mile, I can make a very good living, with a little bit of hustle. And I'm going to show you what I did last week. Everything came together pretty well last week. It wasn't a great week by any means, but I ended up driving a lot more than I normally do. But it's just an example of get out there and go to work and you can make some money. So last week, what did I drive? 3,800 miles. And that's from the time that I walked out of my house till I got back to my house. I left on a Monday morning, got back Sunday midday. So it was a lot of driving every single day. 3,800 miles. And for the week, I grossed $4,475. Like I said, not a gangbusters week. This is more than I've grossed in probably close to the last 2 months. I just, coming into the holidays, I wasn't working much, but rates are down. And I just, in the directions that I usually go, there's not this big gross every week. And normally, too, if you see somebody bragging about a big gross, which, most people would say this is not a big gross, but you see somebody saying, well, I made $8,000 last week. Normally, it runs in cycles. You make a big, big gross one week, and the next week you're doing a reset and you're out of hours and your gross is not as much. So keep that in mind. But $4,475. And I can't remember exactly what that was, but I think it's about $1.17 a mile. So just over $1 per mile. And you're saying, well, that's still not $1 a mile. That's too much. But, one thing you have to take into account is I went to California, so I paid more in fuel. Arizona's slightly higher. So here in Texas, I pay about $2.80 something for a gallon of gas. I don't use diesel. Out in California, it was close to $4. So, when you think about that, it actually probably brings this down to look more like $1 a mile if you were to stay close to the East Coast. But anyway, still close to $1 a mile. Let's see, what did I pay for fuel? I paid, it was $1,100 something, but I'm just going to round it way up to $1,200. I didn't get great fuel mileage on this trip because I was kind of in a hurry going out there. And then when I go out to Southern California, I have to pick it up a little bit if I want to make it back and deliver something on the weekend or first thing Monday morning. I have to pick it up just a little bit. So my fuel mileage wasn't great. That's another thing. Normally I'm going slow and I'm spending a lot less on fuel. So, but let me do the math here. 3,275 after my fuel. Now this is where you have to do your own math. If you've got truck payment, insurance, ELD, load boards, etc., etc. Whatever you have, you deduct it from that. But as $3,275 after fuel, you should be able to make your truck payment for the entire month. You should be able to make your insurance payment for the entire month, your ELD, your load board payments for the entire month out of this 1 week, and still walk away with over $1,000 in your pocket. I guess it depends on how much you're paying for your truck. So when somebody says, I can't do that, I grew up with a dad that when I said I can't, he said, his saying was, I can't never did anything. So when I hear people say I can't, it really bugs me. And because, I mean, there's sometimes that there's just no way to do it, but it doesn't mean you can't try and figure out a way. A lot of people jump into this with no experience in load boards or running freight whatsoever. And I can understand it's tough to try to figure out kind of which direction to go and where to find the loads and which lanes to run, but it's all out there on YouTube. There's many videos, people explaining the best lanes, where to find loads. So all these loads, this was 5 loads, all partial, because that's really all I can do is partials. I better explain too. I have a little bit different operation than most people. I do have a 16-foot box truck. I'm very limited in this box truck. I built myself a sleeper in there. So I only have about 12 feet of space to load things up. I don't have a lift gate. And the big thing is I'm not dock height. So I miss a lot of loads because I'm not dock height. But I went out and bought a little flatbed trailer that I haul along with it. So when I can't get loads in the van, I can sometimes find loads to go on the flatbed trailer. You just got to figure out a way. So with both of those, I did 5 loads this week. And the big thing right now, I got them all off of dat board and truck stop. There are lots of load boards out there, but these are the 2 I use mainly. Right now, if you're a part-timer or if you're just getting into this and you look on the load board once an hour, that's not going to work. That is definitely not going to work, because if a good load falls on the load board right now in this economy, in this environment, it's going to be there for about 30 seconds. Because if you don't dial within the first few seconds of that load hitting that load board, you're not going to get it if it's a decent load and it's paying a decent amount. And you're not going to talk them, you're not negotiating very much either. If you do, then somebody in the background who answers the phone in that office is going to give that load away to somebody else. So you really have to streamline things. If I see something fall on the load board, I'm calling right away while I'm still kind of looking at the information. And sometimes when I'll be scrolling down and it'll say, oh, you need a lift gate. And I'm like, oh crap, and I have to hang up the phone. But I'm already first in line. And when I do call in on, let's see, on 4 of these loads this week, I was able to negotiate a little bit. The other one, they just wouldn't budge. But I didn't get much more out of them than they advertised the load for. So all in all, like I was trying to say, people are complaining, you can't make a living on $1 a mile. You only come home with a couple $100s in a week. You got to figure it out. Stop saying I can't and just figure it out. There's a way to make money, even with a crappy old box truck like I've got that has a lot of limitations, there's a way to make money, and very good money, every week if you hustle a little bit.